Hi, I'm Meredith Wilkerson, the Technology Development Associate for the Office of Technology Development at the University of Oklahoma. This presentation focuses on talking about your research with non-researchers. My goal with this presentation is to help you increase the impact of your research by developing strategies to be clear, concise, and compelling when talking about your research. We will also discuss the importance of effective customer discovery and how partnering with the Office of Technology Development can help. Many researchers enjoy talking about their research when asked, "What do you do for a living?" But very few take their audience's perspective into account while delivering their response. For example, I work in the field of quantum physics, and we have found that sufficiently low temperatures and high enough densities of trapped atoms can demonstrate the Bose-Einstein condensation of an atomic vapor to form a new coherent quantum state of matter. This is a very important contribution to my field. You want to avoid this reaction. Most likely, the person you are talking to will not be an expert in your field and will find it difficult to relate to your research. Let's consider a different approach for explaining a similar line of research.
First, you trap atoms in a special bottle. It uses electromagnetic fields to isolate the atoms from the noise of the environment. And the atoms themselves are quite violent, but if you fire lasers that are precisely tuned to the right frequency, an atom will briefly absorb those photons and tend to slow down. Little by little, it gets colder, until eventually it approaches absolute zero. Now, if you use the right kind of atoms and you get them cold enough, something truly bizarre happens. It's no longer a solid, a liquid, or a gas. It enters a new state of matter called a superfluid. The atoms lose their individual identity, and the rules from the quantum world take over. And that's what gives superfluids such spooky properties. For example, if you shine light through a superfluid, it is able to slow photons down to 60 kilometers per hour. Another spooky property is that it flows with absolutely no viscosity or friction. So if you were to take the lid off that bottle, it won't stay inside. A thin film will creep up the inside wall, flow over the top, and right out the outside. Now, of course, the moment that it does hit the outside environment, and its temperature rises by even a fraction of a degree, it immediately turns back into normal matter. Superfluids are one of the most fragile things we've ever discovered. And this is the great pleasure of science, the defeat of our intuition through experimentation.
The way you feel now is how you want your audience to feel, like they want to know more after grasping a basic understanding. So the first example was overly complicated. The second example, while entertaining, is not very realistic considering the time and preparation needed to orchestrate this response. The key is to be clear, concise, and compelling in order to convey the right amount of information at a level your audience can relate to. Engaging professionals outside your lab is important for networking with faculty within your department, faculty from other departments, and at academic conferences. Networking can lead to collaborations that produce far-reaching impact across disciplines. Or you may be looking to expand your research and increase its value. You may need to pitch your idea to a grant committee or potential investors who know nothing about your research. Effectively communicating your research creates opportunities to enhance its impact. Think realistically about what your audience needs to know for understanding why your research is interesting. Keep it simple. Don't give a mini lecture. Use simple graphics and analogies, avoid jargon, and create a relatable narrative. For example, you may not know what this graphic represents, but what if I give you a clue and say on the left we have a proline-rich protein, in the middle is a tannin trimer, and on the right is a polysaccharide fragment? Does that give you any hints to what this figure is trying to convey? It is a depiction of how proteins, tannins, and sugars interact in wine to produce different tastes. Without variations of this interaction, all red wines would taste the same. So this is a demonstration of how an overly complicated picture mixed with jargon can cloud interesting information. Save this level of detail for manuscript publications and winemaking courses designed for chemists. Someone may ask you what your research is about. To make an impact, start with why your research is important. Starting with a description of the problem will highlight the value of your research. Put facts and numbers into context. Connect the "so what" back to the audience. For example, this process releases 3.4 million metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. And then if you add further information such as, that is equivalent to the pollution from 900,000 cars. So this additional information helps your audience relate to the information you are providing. Many people would not understand the significance of 3.4 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. By putting it into context, this helps your audience understand the significance of your research. Be sure to keep it visually interesting. Show, don't tell. Use charts, graphs, or photos. Maintain good contrast between text and background. Use text sparingly, and ensure all information is legible. For example, this graph seems adequate. There's relatively clear text. On the y-axis, we have how often you mash the snooze button. On the x-axis, we have 5 days of the week. If this is actually your data, you may want to find a different way to display it. However, if your data is more like this might be the most compelling way to display your data. One more note about presenting data. Not many people can read this or digest this amount of information during a presentation. Think twice before displaying an entire table from a manuscript in a presentation. Ask yourself, is this clear, concise, and compelling? Probably not. Assume your audience has a limited attention span. Try to convey the benefits of your research in a relatable context in 2 to 3 minutes. Also, anticipate killer questions. Know your weaknesses and be ready to explain if asked. For example, you may not yet know the mechanism of how your new compound works, but be prepared to explain how you will test this. Or you may not know the safety parameters of your new device, but also be prepared to explain how you will test this. Prepare to back up product market fit through effective customer discovery. You may be asked, what evidence do you have that your research has value? We'll talk about this in the upcoming slides. And of course, practice and revisions makes perfect. Effective customer discovery can optimize the path you take for adding value to your research. So what is customer discovery? First, let's talk about a few things it is not. It is not asking people to design your product for you. It is not validating your assumptions only. You want to be aware of confirmation bias. This is where you hear what you want to hear. Consider bringing a partner with you to customer interviews to take notes and observe behavior. There is a natural tendency to try to pitch or sell your idea. Try to avoid this. Your job during customer discovery is to learn. You should be looking for clues and patterns to gain insight. This will confirm or deny your assumptions regarding your product. This will also lead to better decisions and smarter actions. It's the customer's job to explain their behavior, goals, and challenges. It's the product designer's job to come up with the best solution. This quote is from a book titled Talking to Humans. It is available for free online and delves further into the details of effective customer discovery. It highlights the notion that many inventors and entrepreneurs don't spend enough time and effort to understand the potential customer's needs. This can be detrimental to your ability to develop a valuable product or service. To get the best insight, you need to talk to people and observe real behavior. Seeing behavior that validates the need for your technology is very useful. Have people tried different solutions? Is the problem a big enough priority for people to seek different solutions? If you can answer yes to both of these questions, these are indicators of a real market need for a new or better solution. Make sure you are getting the right information. Unfortunately, your product is not for everyone. Keep in mind who will buy it and who will use it. For example, lab management software may be purchased by the head of the lab, but the software is primarily used by the lab manager, students, and technicians. These individuals may have a lot of influence over the head of the lab as to which software to purchase. Think about who your early adopters are. Perhaps these are people who work in busy labs with outdated software that is slow and difficult to navigate. These are the people to talk to first. But don't ask them, would you buy this? Do you like this idea? With these questions, you are asking the individual to speculate on their future behavior. It is too risky to base your product development on speculations. Instead, focus on sharing stories. Ask open-ended questions. What was your previous experience like? What was frustrating about it? What do you like about your current software? And also, listening is more important than talking. This is qualitative research. The data points will either support or deny your assumptions. And of course, always ask for referrals at the end of each of your customer discovery interviews. You should hope to leave each interview with 2 to 3 names of individuals you can contact. The feedback you receive during your customer discovery interviews can help ensure that what you're working on will be useful in the future. It may feel natural to ask, would you use a new lab management software that helps you more easily order materials and organize projects? Most likely the response would be yes, of course, wouldn't everyone? But this does not provide valuable feedback that would be applicable to developing your invention. A better way to start your customer discovery efforts would be, tell me about your experience with your lab management software. This opens up a narrative and a conversation that could provide insights that could be valuable to the development of your technology. The Office of Technology Development is here to help you protect your ideas. Sharing too much too early can hurt patent rights in the United States and countries abroad. Always seek early advice before public disclosures like conference presentations and manuscript publishing. If you're interested in learning more, please see Chris Corbett's Patents 101, also available on this website. Or feel free to contact us to set up a meeting and we'd be happy to discuss further. When meeting with our office, please share your expertise with us. Know the current research landscape. Who are your competitors? How do you differentiate your technology? Is there a clear path to market for your technology? You may need to further differentiate your technology to gain a competitive edge with intellectual property we can protect. Think about doing this through multidisciplinary collaborations. Be candid about your technology's potential weaknesses. Do you need funding to answer research questions that will bring your technology closer to the market? The Office of Technology Development has a special program available to provide funding for research intended to increase the market readiness of your technology. Please see the Growth Fund link on this website for more information. Hopefully, next time someone asks you, "So, what do you really do for a living?" you'll have a clear, concise, and compelling response appropriate for your audience.